Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're going to get right into the nuts and bolts of fear. But this isn't just about what fear is. We're going to look at it as a system happening inside your brain and body that you can actually learn to work with. And yeah, maybe even retrain. So let's just start with this one big question. What if fear isn't just this thing that happens to you, but is actually a system you can get your hands on and work with? That's the whole idea for today, making that shift from feeling like fear is in the driver's seat to you actively managing it. So, how does the system even work? Okay, so first things first, we've got to understand that fear is way, way more than just a feeling. It's this incredibly complex, coordinated response happening across your entire being. And that complexity, believe it or not, is exactly what makes it trainable. Think about it like a symphony. You've got your brain circuits playing the strings, your body systems banging the drums, and your own thoughts and beliefs are the conductor. And because it's a structured process with all these different parts, it means there are levers we can actually learn to pull. And it all starts with understanding who's who in your brain. So inside your head, when you feel fear, it's basically a conversation, or sometimes more like a shouting match, between two really important parts of your brain. And the tricky thing is, they operate on completely different timelines. So meet character number one, the amygdala. This thing is your brain's ancient, hardwired alarm system. It is lightning fast, it's always scanning for danger, and it lives by one simple rule: better safe than sorry. It yanks the fire alarm first and figures out if there's a fire later. And then you have character number two, your prefrontal cortex, or PFC for short. Now, this is the brain's rational commander. It's the newer, more sophisticated part that comes in and logically assesses the situation. It's the part that asks, okay, hold on, is this really a threat, or was that just a false alarm? And here is the absolute key. There's a time lag. The amygdala's alarm is instantaneous, but the PFC's thoughtful analysis, well, it takes a second to catch up. And that gap, that tiny little gap, is where the feeling of being overwhelmed by fear lives. It's why a loud bang can make your heart race before you even realize it was just the cat knocking something over. Now, this little back and forth between the alarm and the commander, it definitely doesn't just stay up in your head. That initial alert from the amygdala sets off a massive, full-body response that is designed for one thing and one thing only: survival. And yup, this is the famous fight-or-flight response you've heard about. The brain's signal kicks off this whole chemical cascade, putting your entire body on high alert to deal with whatever danger it thinks is there, whether it's real or not. And what's really fascinating is how this chain reaction works. Your hypothalamus sends a signal to your pituitary gland, which then flips a switch on your adrenal glands. And that final step, bam, it floods your body with cortisol, the main stress hormone. That's what keeps you all juiced up and alert, and it's what makes that feeling of fear stick around long after the initial scare is over. Okay, so we get the mechanics now. We see how fear works in the brain and the body. But the big question is, what do we do about it? How do we work with this system? Well, this brings us to a really practical method designed to do just that, to strengthen our rational commander and give it a little more say in the matter. The key here is to stop thinking of this as some kind of mental trick. It's not. It's a genuine training protocol for your brain. By systematically observing your fear, making a prediction, and then checking it against what actually happens, you're actively feeding your PFC the data it needs to do a better job regulating that jumpy amygdala next time. And the process follows this simple 5-step cycle. First, you just name the fear. Get specific. Second, you anchor yourself in some kind of truth you can hold on to. Third, you predict what you think is going to happen, and then you go test it. Fourth, you set a reminder to come back and compare your prediction to what really happened. And finally, the most important part, you consciously update that fear memory with the new information. And here's the tool itself. This is what makes it so practical. This isn't just theory. By actually writing this stuff down, you're creating a powerful feedback loop. You're getting the fear out of your head, you're engaging your PFC by making a prediction, and then you're giving it cold, hard data, the actual outcome, so it can recalibrate for the future. It's amazing. So what's the point of all this? What's the end game? Well, it's about a fundamental shift in how you relate to fear. It's about turning it from this thing you're always fighting against into a trigger for building resilience and trust. You see, when you start engaging with fear this way, it stops being just this painful thing to avoid at all costs.
Instead, it becomes a signal. It becomes an invitation. It becomes a teacher that's pointing you toward an opportunity to grow, to learn something new about reality.
This ancient piece of wisdom from Psalm 56 really just nails the whole idea. See, the goal isn't to never feel afraid again. That's not realistic. The goal is that when you feel afraid, it becomes a conscious trigger, a choice point, to put your trust somewhere solid instead of just spiraling into panic.
And this table just brings it all home. You can see exactly how this method works on every single level. At the neural level, you're strengthening the PFC's ability to calm the amygdala. At the body level, you're learning how to activate a state of calm. And at the cognitive level, the thinking level, you are consciously overwriting those old catastrophic stories with new ones based on what's actually true.
So, we'll end right where we started, with a question. But this one's for you to take with you. Looking at your own life, what fear, big or small, doesn't matter, what fear could be your first invitation to start this process? What fear could be your first teacher?